In an interview that recently caught the attention of the public, BTS's Jungkook honestly revealed that he is having a hard time breaking away from the character he plays in his latest project with Jimin. The confession comes after months of speculation among fans regarding the emotional closeness of the two during the filming process that was described as so intense, both visually and the feelings implied behind the scenes. Jungkook, who is known as a professional figure and rarely displays his personal vulnerability in public, this time spoke in a way that surprised many. In a calm tone, he admitted that there was something in the way they worked together that left a deep mark on his mind. He began by telling us how the project started. According to Jungkook, he knew early on that the role would demand a level of emotional depth that he rarely encountered in other projects. "I think I'm ready," he said with a chuckle that looked more like an attempt to cover up his fatigue. "But I was too drowned. When Jimin is in front of the camera, all the lines between the character and reality are blurred. I forgot I was acting. It was like really living in that feeling." A lot of people might think the confession was just a compliment to his co-star, but for those who understand the dynamic between Jungkook and Jimin over the years, the words carry a deeper meaning. There is a layer of emotion that is difficult to explain, a working relationship that turns into a space of reflection for both. During the filming period, many of the staff described the atmosphere on location as strange but beautiful. They saw how Jungkook and Jimin rarely spoke off camera, but as soon as the scene began, something lit up between the two, a wordless communication that left everyone around speechless. An assistant director even revealed that some scenes had to be repeated because the intensity of the emotions that emerged felt too real. "We wanted it to look natural," she says, "but they both made it seem like they weren't acting. It was as if they were reviving something they had long held dear." As the interview progressed deeper, Jungkook lowered his head for a moment, as if choosing words carefully. "I tried to sleep after filming that day, but my mind couldn't stop," she said quietly. "I still hear his voice, still remember his expression. It feels weird because I know it's part of my character, but on the other hand, it also feels very personal. I can't really get out of that feeling." That sentence hung in the air for a long time, marking an honesty that rarely comes from someone as professional as Jungkook. Fans who have followed their journey since their trainee days know that Jimin and Jungkook have a complex relationship. Sometimes warm, sometimes distant, but always some kind of emotional balance that only the two of them can understand. During the draft, the two were separated for quite a long time, and when this joint project was announced, many were looking forward to what kind of energy they would reappear in front of the cameras. No one expected that the result would be this intense, even for themselves. Jimin, on the other hand, also had time to talk about the filming experience in a separate session. He said working with Jungkook felt like seeing an unfinished version of himself. In his words, "Jungkook had a way of making it all feel real. Sometimes it's scary because I can see myself in his eyes. There are a lot of things we don't talk about, but they all come out in front of the camera." When the comments were broadcast, many fans felt that the two might be going through something deeper than just the usual acting process. Some media outlets then tried to dig further, asking if what they experienced was a form of extreme acting methods often applied by Hollywood actors. Jungkook quickly rejected the label. "I wouldn't call it an acting method," he said with a faint smile. "I just try to be honest in every scene, but sometimes that honesty demands more than I can bear." He then added that Jimin gave him the space to really express his feelings without fear of appearing weak. "We've known each other too long to pretend. If I'm weak, he knows. If he's angry, I can also feel it without a word." The story then became a hot topic on online forums and social media, where many fans discussed how deep the emotional attachment seemed from the interaction of the two. Behind-the-scenes video shows how after a certain scene, Jungkook sits for a long time in a corner of the set staring at the floor, while Jimin walks up to him without saying anything. The little scene, accidentally recorded by a staff camera, went viral on various platforms. Many wrote that the moment was more real than any of the acting they did. Some fans even speculate that the project has changed the dynamics of their relationship. Personally, one of the most interesting things about the interview was when Jungkook was asked if he regretted being too late in character. He paused for a moment before answering, "No, I'm not sorry, but I learned something about myself that I trust my own emotions too easily." Sometimes I think, is what I feel is really mine or just my character's? But when Jimin looked at me at the end of the scene, I knew part of it was real. That last sentence sparked a wave of lengthy discussion, even among film professionals who viewed Jungkook's statement as a very mature reflection of a growing performer. When the project was completed, the crew described the atmosphere of their farewell as one of the quietest moments they had ever experienced. No big closing parties, no boisterous celebrations. Only a brief hug between Jungkook and Jimin under the set's lights began to go out. One of the crew said that the two looked at each other for a long time, as if trying to say something wordlessly. A few minutes later, Jimin leaves first, leaving Jungkook standing alone in the middle of an empty space. The scene became a symbol for many of how they both ended something that is difficult to explain. Since the interview was published, various analytical articles have sprung up, trying to interpret the meaning behind Jungkook's words. Some call it a sign of emotional maturity. Others see it as a form of psychological exhaustion due to such intense work pressure. However, regardless of which interpretation is correct, there is no denying that this moment shows the human side of an idol who has been known to be almost perfect. He's not just a singer or a performer. He is someone who can lose himself in the midst of emotions that he creates himself. In a follow-up interview, Jungkook said that after filming ended, it took him weeks to get back to being himself. She spends time exercising, reading, and even staying at home without social media. I don't want to pretend I'm okay, she said. I need time to understand what I really feel. When asked if Jimin also experienced something similar, he only briefly replied, maybe, but we don't talk about it. We both know quite a lot without having to talk. The story also rekindled a long-standing discussion in ARMY circles about how the depth of relationships between BTS members often manifests itself off-stage, in the form of small attentions, stares, or non-contrived gestures. Many fans consider that projects like this show how strong their bond can be, even when faced with professional challenges that test each other's emotional limits. Whatever they do, there is always honesty in it, wrote one fan on the forum. And that's what keeps us believing in them, not just as a group, but as people. Those who have worked with the two also mention that the synergy between Jungkook and Jimin is not something that can be planned. It was pure, said a lighting staffer. There is an energy that comes as soon as they stand next to each other. Sometimes we even forget that the camera is still recording. Such moments show how thin the line is between reality and role, between man and the character he creates. And in the world of controlled entertainment, that kind of honesty is rare. As news of Jungkook's confession spread, many other artists and actors commented. Some claimed to understand Jungkook's feelings, especially those who had experienced post-character syndrome, a term used to describe the difficulty of breaking away from the character after the project ended. A senior actor even wrote on social media, "It takes great courage to admit such a thing in front of the public." Jungkook points out that being strong doesn't always mean holding back emotions. The comment immediately received thousands of support from fans around the world.